What's up, After Buzzers? Welcome to the Deception After Show here at AfterBuzz. We have an amazing show for you tonight. We're talking fortune telling, we're talking violent arms dealers, and we're talking prison breaks, people. So stay tuned and come on back.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
All right, you guys, let's get into it. I loved this episode. I'm your host, Erika Edwards, and I'm here with my wonderful, wonderful hostesses. You ladies, introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Chae Jones.
Hi, I'm Chae Davis.
All right, you guys, off this top, what were your feelings? I personally loved this episode. I feel like everybody, the writers, everyone's kind of starting to get their groove, and it's starting to gel a bit. What did you all think overall of the episode?
I love divination, most because it always reminds me of Harry Potter, but also because the idea of fortune telling is very interesting, and I like the way they did it in the sense of having a actor play the person and have the actual person who can actually do the readings behind the scenes. It was a very nice twist to everything.
I loved how Cameron kind of took it personally and felt that they were lying. Oh wait, Jonathan. No, Cameron. I was right the first time. Gosh darn it. Twins.
Yes.
I loved how he took it personally and then his interplay with her and the twist ending. Shocker.
Yay. Okay, so this season opens with a fortune teller being murdered. And what I really liked about the initial opening scene is now that we've gotten into the groove of these episodes, they just jump right into, okay, we're calling Cameron. So now Cameron basically, he's an official. He doesn't have to prove himself. He's not still auditioning, because every other episode so far, he has to kind of do something kind of spoofy and mess it up. And I'm kind of glad that they cut that and got right to the chase. And so they bring him right to the scene. And it's very cute because Cameron gives us the background that there's this century-old feud between fortune telling and magicians. And I'm a fan. Like, I read tarot cards and everything. So I'm totally on board with the fortune telling and the divination twist on this episode. And he comes in and he's basically trying to go through the whole scene, basically trying to show, like, yeah, this is a gimmick. They don't really have powers. And they're just like us. They lie. And and it's so interesting because he does find a few little tricks that they do, but he can't really prove that they don't actually have some sort of talent or something to bring to the table, and they're not just straight liars. So I kind of found that whole interplay when they got to the initial scene of the murder pretty good.
Because I think for Cameron, like him saying he's a deception team, like, I'm telling you straight up, I am lying to you. Fortune tellers don't exactly come out and say, I am lying to you, because some aren't legit and some aren't real in their talent that they have. But some seriously are just con artists. And they will con you for every little penny they can get out of you.
People are bad. I loved the opening with the assassin coming in, because at first I was like, oh, these are her clients. Well, what's going on? That looks really cool. I want to have my fortune read. And then all of a sudden it went to, he's not her friend. He puts that Glock out. I don't really know guns, but he put the gun out, and then I was like, oh, what's going to go on? And I really thought she was going to get away.
Well, that's my whole thing when you running from a gun in a straight line. That's your first mistake. You run it in a straight line. Don't you know serpentine, crisscross, zigzag?
Okay,
I'm just saying.
Now this isn't Game of Thrones, and I'm just saying.
That's not a Game of Thrones reference.
No, there was an issue about someone running in a straight line in Game of Thrones. But the issue, I also feel, even if you're not running in a straight line, I mean, it was a closed space. So there's only so much she can do running around that room. So she wasn't like, I get what you're saying and I agree with you, but it was also sort of enclosed. So yeah. I gave her some. And then honestly, once you turn your back on somebody with a gun that's not that far away from you, I mean, you can run, but they're probably going to shoot you. Yeah. So what was interesting too was, because I really felt like Vivian, the actual fortune teller, had some talent. So I'm like, couldn't you have given her the hook up in the earpiece? Like, dude, I recognize him because I used to work with him over in Tokyo or Hong Kong, wherever. So, or no, I take that back. You're right. She did not. But I feel, I was kind of wondering why she didn't realize that it was a hitman there and give her partner a heads up. But so basically Cameron comes in And once he reveals from the scene, and that leads them to realize that the person who murdered had, someone else working behind the scenes who was actually doing the fortune telling. And then they do their, their usual spiel where they interview the people on the street, which is great. And so then they find out her name is Vivian Long because Vivian Song. So when she sees, her girl get killed, she runs and leaves everything, including her license or whatever. So it wasn't a mystery that who she was. And so she's about to kill herself on the bridge. And that was an interesting scene for me because you finally see Kay because she's kind of like the worst with the witnesses, I feel like. So this is finally her opportunity to be really trying to relate to this person and stop her from killing herself. And so I did appreciate that Kay, even though she wasn't that successful, but she did really kind of step up to the plate, I think, with talking to a witness in that particular scene.
Well, she did succeed. The woman was going to come back off the bridge, but the light from the helicopter startled her because she was going to come off because she wanted to find the person who killed her friend.
Right.
But I found it fascinating that after someone killed her friend, she had the presence of mind to write a little note, leave the contact information for her friend. I was like, screw that. I'd be gone. I'd be crying, but I'd be gone. I'd just be
I thought that was,
gone.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought that was such a cool little thing because she was like, you know what? Everybody's being murdered or my friends are being murdered or whatever, but I want to make sure that I leave behind my book of business. So I'm going to give this to the other fortune teller around the corner. So I was like, I appreciate her looking out.
I feel like she did that in that moment, right after it happened, she just started writing as fast as she could and then she got out of there.
Yeah.
And I love how she wrote it basically in Chinese so nobody can understand except for the other fortune teller who actually happens also to be Chinese.
Right.
The legit fortune teller,
yes.
not the scammy people.
Yeah.
But that was cool.
Kind.
I mean, because at first, reading them, all the people who came in, he didn't really seem to have a frightening vibe to him.
Right.
Because I don't think he really planned on killing them at first until she ran. But who doesn't run when someone pulls a gun? I mean, I've never had a gun pulled on me, but who wouldn't run if someone pulled a gun on them?
That's a conversation for another day. So that's all I'm going to say. Well, I have things to say about that.
I would run, but as Shane pointed out, I wouldn't run in a straight line either. I think I totally support her in that. And so it was interesting that she did make those choices, and she did look out for the people who were around her. So you saw the kind of the goodness in her, even though she's this woman on the run. And so initially, but Cameron, of course, because Cameron is who he is. So Cameron saves the day with this rope on the bridge and she's falling and Cameron catches her. And it's sort of like a romantic moment. Or, we all want it to be because, Cameron, we're not going to see that booty call from last episode. So, he has this moment and he saves the day. And, so they start to, they take her back and they question her. And so she comes up with the name of a real estate tycoon, Miller McKenzie. That's the person who's hunting her. It's kind of it is a little bit off-putting because it's wow, what kind of real estate are they buying in China where they got to murder people? But she ends up staying at the Archive, which is the place that Cameron calls home. And I think we discussed this a little bit in last week. I was kind of is it a library? What is it? So I don't know. I haven't seen before this them really give a name to their home, and so I kind of really appreciate that because I was like, they live in a library, they live in a museum. I don't know what this is. So
it's a really nice place in New York. Let's say that for sure. It's more money than I could afford to pay for rent. I thought it was really neat her coming in and sort of assessing everyone because she's as good at body reading as a magician is. Yes. And I think that's the other issue he kind of has. It's a weird competition because usually he's the smartest person in the room if his brother isn't there.
Yes.
Because his brother's the smart brother.
Yes.
But a quote, my favorite quote is, always be the smartest person in the room. So when you have somebody else who actually can almost top your own, your smartness is now put into question. Are you as smart as you think you are?
Very true. Very true. And but then there's another quote too, that if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're probably in the wrong room, and it's a lot of stupid people in that room too. So you just associate with smarter people. But yeah, so they're both very, very valid.
Okay, am I the only one that thought when she said the real estate tycoon was chasing her? I thought it was a scorn, crazy, psycho boyfriend that was chasing her, and she was trying to escape before we learned what was going on. Or maybe that's just what I go for because I've had a stalker boyfriend.
I think I may have thought that, or I thought some sort of, even though she said real estate, I was like, well, obviously he's doing more than real estate because, why does he really, So I did think maybe he was in some sort of, I thought they were going to go maybe the Chinese gang riot or something. I really thought more gangs, I think.
Definitely something illegal, if anything else. Like, nobody hires a hitman just for the sake of hiring a hitman.
Right. I mean, nobody hires a hitman because, I didn't close on this building. Like, I find that hard to believe, but I don't live in China, and, there is a lot of real estate there. Okay, so we see Kay with the FBI, and, so we get to see her and her boss, Special Agent Deacons or whatever. Now, what's so interesting, I think, about how Deception does it is, I have to Google everything, but kind of like when they were like the Russian syndicate, I feel like sometimes they make up these sort of things that exist within the Deception world, which I actually really appreciate. So they turned out that they have to go to the counterintelligence.
Oh no, that's the actual rule. That's the actual subdivision of the FBI. It's also a subdivision in the CIA and the NSA and DEA.
Okay, well, good, because it sounded totally fake to me. So I am glad that it does exist, because I was like, are y'all making up another thing again? So she has to go, and so she meets with her friend. She says, oh, I know someone over there. And so she meets with Robert Greene and to get some info, but he doesn't give her any info. And so she kind of sums him up, and she's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. There is something really going on because he didn't give me any information. And so I found that, that kind of is showing her to be kind of, she's getting more astute than I originally thought she was after the cameras don't look the same thing. So now I'm like, okay, she's a bright little cookie. So I really like that scene. What do you guys think?
That one was good.
Yeah.
But intelligence agencies usually don't share information unless they have to anyway. So I knew he wouldn't give her anything, and it was strictly her figuring out what was unsaid or unspoken.
I just definitely knew that somebody was undercover and he couldn't give away who it was, because counterintelligence in any agency basically just means undercover work, point blank. So obviously he has somebody in, or in, like, when you say something like, oh, his face is like all pixelated. It's a pixelated picture and now your file's restricted. Okay, I have questions. And then when I come to you and you're just like, oh no, we just had some, he just came up on our roster. No, he didn't just show up on your roster, your counterintelligence. Like, that, he has to be a big, pretty bad guy for him to have the highest level of restriction, and I can't get to see what his file is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. So, so she kind of knew that something wasn't going on and that Vivian had been lying to them. So she goes back to the archive, and kind of like in between there, they kind of show, like you were saying, Vivian is kind of doing readings for people, and she's talking to Cameron about Jonathan. She's doing his reading, and he gives her Jonathan's birth date. So she reads this whole dark thing, and then she's like, oh, I've never been this wrong before, which was adorable, really. And then and she's reading Dina and her little issues with love. So I kind of liked you got to get a little bit more interaction, and they kind of built out the character of Vivian a little bit more thoroughly, and you kind of got a feel for sort of the realness behind the team too, because you don't really, they're kind of in and out sometimes, and it was nice to kind of see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I love getting to know them.
I did too. I loved how she just put Gunter on, and he was like, I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe that hooey. You're wrong. You're fraud. Like, it was just everything. I just love Vinnie Jones. Like, I just appreciate him so much.
Yes, I do. He's hilarious. And in every scene, I think his character is just over the top, but in like a really, really hilarious, funny way. And so Kay busts in, she's like, she's lying to us. And I think it was just as Vivian or somebody else had just been talking about lying. So I was like, oh, that's clever. And so she busts in. And so then finally she's like, he's an arms dealer. And Cameron is like, why didn't you tell us? And so I was like, oh, okay. Cameron might really be starting to like her. So now that they know he's an arms dealer, now they meet with Green again. Like, okay, now we know the real deal. What's going on? And so now that's when Green is brought into Cameron's, well, this is just what we do at the FBI. We have magicians that help us and get with it, counterintelligence. And he's like, all right, well, here's, also what they do too is once she tells them, I forget this part, I apologize, I skipped this part. They go back to the scene because she's like, oh, wait a minute. I used to help him with the arms deals, which was interesting. And, but I have my notes. Like, I don't remember anything off the top of my head, but I took all these notes, which is great when you work with arms dealers. And so they go back to the scene to get her notes. And that's where they encounter the hitman. And, and they kind of, for once, Kay goes solo, the counter hitman, but Kay is really stepping up this episode. Every scene, I'm like, go Kay. So she's really doing big things. And so what do you guys think about the whole capturing the hitman?
Well, like points in her, like if you're a very great hitman, you are able to blend in. You should look unassuming. I mean, even if you look sexy, hopefully you look unassuming at the same time. However, a uniformed cop of the NYPD cannot afford Prada shoes and definitely not a Montblanc pen at all. So I gave her so much props for the fact that like those are like really quick things to catch. I'm just like, okay, like in 3, 2, 1, like she like timed that perfectly because if you turn like at 5 or 4 or 5, you're dead.
Yeah,
bam.
Yeah, that part was a little funny to me. I was like, wait a minute, she's just counting, and the gunman knows. Well, it's 3. Click. So that was fun. What did you think, Chae?
That one was really good because I think he just did a cursory outfits he could just sort of slip in and out. Right. I don't know how he knew where the hidden notes were in the desk, but then I thought, if you're a sneaky person, you probably assume everyone has things in anyway. And she didn't know that he was a arms dealer at first. She just thought she was reading his coworkers and friends. And she didn't realize
right, that's true. She
that
did not
when
realize,
she read them bad, that they'd end up swimming with the fishes. Or killing them. That's what I mean when I say swimming.
You know who's killing it though? Like really killing it? Guys, you want to have fun and learn and grow in all aspects of your life? For those of you who have not, we have a podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos. Podcast edition is hosted by our AFTERBUZZ TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversation with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life, which we all need in our lives. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversation with Maria Menounos for free. I mean, come on, guys. We all need a bargain in our lives. It's free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that it was us, the Deception team, that sent you there.
That is us.
Conversation with Maria Menounos, podcast edition. Check it out.
Yes, I'm so checking it out because, like I'm single. I'm trying to get sexy by Memorial Day. Like I have so many big plans, and Maria is going to get me there.
I subscribed, and I just listened to her February Valentine one because I have my eyes on a cute little bartender. So I need to figure that out.
Exactly. Because dating in LA is the worst.
It is the worst.
So Maria will help us out with that for sure. And help you too. So subscribe. Okay, so what I did, I take that back. In the first episode, Kay was the one who realized Cameron was the impersonator because she was the one in that episode too. I think Kay does have a very distinct attention to detail in terms of clothing and that sort of thing. Because now that I give it some thought after you were talking about the shoes and stuff, I was like, yeah, she did point that out about Cameron as well. So I do, I guess when it comes to people and clothes, she's really astute at that. So that was really nice. And so they capture the hitman, and he kind of gives them the behind the scenes that he was hired through the black market. So they never saw each other.
The dark web.
The dark web, yes.
The dark web is a very
too
complex.
good. You can't be too good of a hitman if he's on the dark web and he just isn't.
Or you could be a very great hitman because the dark web is like it's like, okay, so here's the internet, and this is the dark web. This is everything under the actual internet. So there are so many things you can buy off the dark web. It's astounding and disgusting at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, I would look at it sort of like online dating. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You can be catfish, and then sometimes those people exist. You just don't know. It can go either way. It's like a hitman or your future husband. You don't know, but. In this case, they got like a horrible hitman.
Yes.
And so they have his phone. So a special agent goes to Cameron's archive, and they're trying to sell him or pitch him on allowing Cameron, a civilian, but really he works for the FBI, so why don't they just say that? But as a civilian, go in and negotiate this deal, because the issue is that they have all these people undercover,
Mm-hmm.
but this man will not. He's so paranoid about these signs and about his fortune, and he's such a strong believer in all these things that he won't do a deal until she says it's okay. So they're like, okay, well, so we need her to go back. And everybody's like, well, why would she do that? He tried to kill her. But she realizes that she won't ever really be free until she kind of squashes this, and obviously anyone around her will also be in danger. So they agree. She agrees to go back, and Cameron is going to, again, we love Cameron pretending to be someone else. We love him when he does that. So he agrees to impersonate the hitman, and they set up this. So now we get to see the deception team do their magic, because she's like, well, okay, I can do the reading, but he's looking at all of these signs that surround us every day in our lives. And I know, like, I read, I check astrology. I don't do numerology as much, but yeah, I definitely, I'm going to be looking for red way more now. But yeah, so they're like, okay, well, we got that. We got this. This is what we do. And so then they do their magic.
I loved how they played into his own superstition as well as Chinese superstition, which is a little bit different than America, with the eights, with red, with the gold.
The goldfish.
The gold koi fish. They called something other than that. And the red door, which I know is good luck. I thought that was really interesting how they played that off. It was so nicely done that as you're looking at the actor's expression as each one hits, it made me catch some that at first glance, because I've watched the episode twice now, that I didn't at first notice. Because you could see how his eyes would light up when he'd see, oh, the number 8 that's sideways. Is that
Infinity?
Yeah, infinity,
yeah.
yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's so clever. They didn't really explain how they were able to, like, hack all those computer screens.
Exactly. And the 8 green lights in a row. When does that happen?
It never
Manhattan.
happens.
Like,
In New York, that's definitely a TV show for you.
Exactly. And
No
I
traffic
was
jam.
totally, I loved all of it, but I was kind of with him, like, yeah, I just happened to go to the one red door on the floor. Like, that is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like, all the doors in the hotel are white, but this one is red. I don't know, so.
That one was weird, and the explanation was sort of interesting. But I normally never stay in hotel suites, so I don't know.
Right.
How many
she
are on the floor.
She improved it really well.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay.
I think it would have been better if they'd said, we painted it red for you because you're a regular guest and we know that you like red.
Yeah, or
That would have probably made him even more suspicious, the fact that, because he
switched rooms.
He likes to be remembered, but he doesn't like to be remembered at the same time. Like, because he's paranoid. So, like, he uses the same room, okay, that's fine. But he also likes his privacy. He also likes kind of like staying in his own space. So I feel like if that would have happened, she said that would have put him on guard really quickly.
He's already on guard.
yeah.
True.
He's already ready. He came in ready for bear, shooting for bear.
Yes, very, very true. So he comes in there, and Cameron shows up with Vivian, And, but now they're in a totally different room. So there's no bugs, there's no FBI, there's nobody listening. And so, of course, now things go awry. Cameron does, however, make the switch of the Mahjong tiles. And we have some background on that later. So that'll be cool. And so he makes the switch. And, she does the reading or whatever. But then he's like, okay, she's coming with me, which is totally... I guess they're thrown off or theoretically thrown off about it. And so now the chase begins because he's leaving with Vivian.
I thought that was very well done with them going to the elevator, delaying it. I thought that was so fun.
I love Mike came in. He's like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to see Lion King. I don't know if that was just like, I was seriously maybe expecting Hamilton. Really was. But I'll take Lion King on Broadway. Like, just the way he did it with the jazz hands was like, you're a Broadway guy. I love it.
Hamilton tickets are impossible to get still. So.
That's
exactly. He's like, yeah, I will be seeing Hamilton when this show is renewed a few years from now. And then... So and what I did like too is when he was like, okay, everything will be okay. There was sort of like a little flirtatious moment right then between him and Dina. So they're trying to keep that sort of flirtatious little line going with those two, which I'm totally, totally loving. And so, okay, so all right. So they get down to the lobby, and of course the FBI swarms them, and he takes Vivian hostage. And then she struggles for the gun, and she's shot. And I'm not gonna lie, like I know this show. This is not a shocker. This is the 4th episode, but part of me was like, because they started playing this really down music, I was like, is she really dead? Like they're kind of going hard with the music, but of course she was not. That was the surprise. Whoa. So so she had to at least appear to be dead because he would hunt her forever anyway. So she dies, and they take him away, and then I guess he's an arms dealer, so they don't have to worry about actually charging him with murder because he's done other things, or with her murder anyway.
So technically she killed herself.
Right, exactly, because technically she's not dead. Well, actually...
He'd still be charged.
Yeah, he would still be charged with murder in that situation. But, since she ain't dead and he's so many other things, that's not a concern. And so, so he, Cameron saves the day and everything is wrapped up so nicely and sweetly. And, eventually they're going to have their after party at the end. But it was a nice way. I like the way they wrapped that up. I really, really, really was loving that. So what did you guys?
I liked it. At first, I really thought she was it.
I know, this was the best one.
But it was also because I felt at that moment for her, like, if you're going to hunt me forever, I'm going to make my own choice about my own life.
Right.
And I won't let you take it away from me. And I felt so justified for her in that moment. Like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going out my way. And that's the way it should be.
Exactly. Because originally when she was killing herself, that's what I thought anyway. I was like, okay, someone's going to hunt me and kill all the people I know. I like the fact that he, that you I agree with you. I was like, all right, she's taking her destiny in her hands. And to me, I felt like she did have that connection with Cameron, and he was sort of like really sad and upset or whatever. So this is the best one so far, I think, where I really kind of was buying into it. So I totally thought she was dead for a mere moment.
The arms dealer's obsession with her, I thought, was so well done. Because it wasn't, at first I thought it was going to be a sexual obsession, but it wasn't. It was just his obsession with his controlling and wanting her to read his fortune, which I thought was very fun. The way she was like, oh, I forgot my clothes. He's like, no, I'll just buy you some new ones.
I know. He was like, I might be not sleeping with you, but you are my slave. So we're going back. I don't want to hear anything. You don't really have to brush your teeth. You just have to do my readings. That's all you need to do.
So that was not cool. I felt bad for her, but hey, he's a nice looking guy. If he wasn't a arms dealer.
I know, right?
No, that's not attractive, by the way.
If he wasn't an obsessive arms dealer.
No, I was
really
in general,
real estate
the general
agent.
sense he's not attractive.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to pass judgment because now we're going to talk about my prison bae. So, okay, moving right along. So Jonathan. So I kind of wanted to just do Jonathan's. They're kind of intermingled, but I think it's just easier to just do Jonathan's, side story, B storyline. all at once. So in the beginning of the episode, Jonathan and Cameron are meeting, and Cameron is kind of getting Jonathan caught up on what Kay is actually doing to help them locate the blue brown-eyed chick. And which is good because we haven't really seen that, so we don't know what she's doing either. But according to Cameron, she's doing stuff. And they have an interesting interaction. And Cameron notices that Jonathan has this bruise. And, you know, Jonathan's like, duh, I'm in prison, dude. What you think? I'm not like at Club Med or whatever. So it's interesting. I'm starting to really see Jack Cutmore Scott develop as an actor in these two parts. Because really, I'm honest, I wasn't really buying it for a long time. So he's starting to really kind of bring Jonathan more alive and make them, to me, more distinct characters.
Oh my gosh, they were doing so well with this episode with really separating them from the body language, even the way his eyes, and he looks just sort of beat down, his hair is slicked back. I'm not saying I'd date a felon, but I might make exception.
Yeah, I will finish it for you. Let's date Jonathan.
Yeah, forget Cameron.
He has
I'm
that like
Team
sexy
Jonathan.
wounded, like look in his eye, and like this, like what I don't know what it's about a guy that's just like who looks really sexy and has like that wounded, almost broken, but the spirit's not broken type of look in his eye that just like makes you just want to drool and like I just want to piece you back together.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. So Jonathan's like, yeah, I'm out here dealing with things. And so the next scene we see, Jonathan is meeting, or I think he's at lunch or something. And so Winslow, which is the name of the evil black prison man, which is, as I mentioned in every show that's about prison, is a mean black man. So, but his name is Winslow. So Winslow is like, yeah, you know, I have a friend. He has kidney issues. You need to help him escape. And Jonathan's like, no. Initially, and I think we all kind of know how that's going to end. So he says no at first, and the black man's like, I got you, and then they run into him. And this is another thing, like on every single prison show, people do get assaulted in showers and stairways. I don't know, I wouldn't take stairs, but so they attack him. So the black guy actually doesn't do it, and this is another thing I found sort of interesting, is that Deception had a way of, because in every prison show that I've watched, the gangs are all kind of racially together. So you have to be like the white people or with the Aryan race, and Latinos and the blacks are together. So I assumed the black man was going to be with the black gang, but I was wrong. So some of his white friends beat up another white boy, which I was very intrigued by this, to be honest. But he was like, nah, now you have a cracked rib. Now you two will be in the infirmary. And Jonathan ends up actually helping doing it, because now he's like, he has to, and he has a cracked rib, and he really helps, helps this guy escape. So what are your thoughts about the prison scenes?
I personally, Jonathan just keeps digging himself further and further. It's like Vivian said, like a darkness is surrounding him, and he's legit slowly pulling away from Cameron, and you can definitely tell that it's happening. And the fact that he keeps doing things seriously will be his downfall at the end of this entire thing. Personally, if I was Cameron, I would just say, okay, I need you to move my brother to a different prison. Like, can we move him?
Right, exactly. Sure.
I blame this on Cameron.
Absolutely.
Because I think at first in the prison, they assumed he was just behind the scenes and he didn't know how to do magic, which is why they left him alone. But if you're in prison, everybody knows you need to find a gang of people to hang out with.
Exactly. That's my whole thing. I love the fact that there are diverse gangs, but you need a gang.
Unless you're bigger than them.
Yeah, and let's just keep it 100. He's not big, and he's cute. Like, we know what happens to pretty people in prison. Like, this isn't that type of show, but it happens. And I'm like, okay, he needs a gang. He needs to get with some people. And so he does help him escape. And so the final scene that we see between Cameron comes back to visit Jonathan, and Jonathan's like, yeah, I'm good. And then he drops the quarter. When he's doing some trick that he's probably done his whole life, he drops the quarter. And that's when Cameron realizes that, yeah, maybe Jonathan's not doing good. So, so that's kind of where it ends, kind of on a dark note, because you're like, okay, now what is Jonathan going to be up to next month or next week? I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do our special segment. So we came up with this segment, you guys, since it's all about magic. This segment is going to be called Behind the Magic. And so if we can pull up the photos there of those things that that they go on your arm. Exactly. Pull those pictures up. Okay, so this is how there's a gambling trick called the holdout. And what they do, this is how they switch the mahjong bag of tiles with the one that Cameron brought. He had this little thing, and the magicians were on the floor actually pulling strings. But theoretically, if you're playing poker and you had like a bad hand, then you had this little thing attached to you that would switch out the aces. So you guys, there you can, like, I don't know, use that at Vegas if you need to, or if you need to fool an arms dealer. So that is our special segment for the evening. And so every week we're going to have a segment that kind of goes behind the magic trick. Since this, even though I was hating it and fighting it, this is one of those shows that ruins magic for you, and we're going to go along with it. So we too are going to ruin magic. Anything else you wanted to add as well?
Oh, I was going to say, so I found the 8 symbols in the Chinese fortune teller culture that are very good symbols. So numbers, obviously symbolizing wealth, prosperity, success, and longevity. Cabbage is symbolizing wealth and prosperity. A lucky cat is good luck and good fortune.
Aww.
Money tree, can I grow one? Symbolizes abundance and wealth.
I love that. And they do money trees like at really ghetto birthday parties. But go ahead. They do.
Or at weddings if you're
Yes.
black. Which we appreciate.
Yes.
Chinese knot symbolizing good luck and a prosperous life. A laughing Buddha symbolizing happiness, health, abundance, and contentment. A bamboo symbolizing longevity, strength, and virtue. And obviously, like in the show, a fish symbolizing unity, fidelity, abundance, and wealth. And the Chinese fortune telling like has so many different levels of what it actually is. Like there's so many, like it's a long history and a long words I cannot say because they're actually Chinese and I'm looking at them and my eyes go cross. However, the sociology of it is very fascinating because in the Chinese culture, it is basically a part of the social movement. It's a part of the community. Yeah. Like they think it's like almost a hierarchy. If you're a fortune teller, you're like of the highest hierarchy because people really, People really take what you say. And
yeah, like they really believe it. Because I think some of it has to do with your faith. And I know like in this episode, they did mahjong tiles, but I also know they do cards, they do coins. I want to say even they throw bones. I want to say there's so many different ways that people can use or that the Chinese use to, outside of numerology and some of these other things, to really kind of take the next world and, you know, kind of use it to impact and guide you, which I actually really like that and have studied a little bit.
And tea leaves.
Oh, tea leaves is a very big part of divination, which I find fascinating because there's so many different images. Like once you drunk on all your tea, you're kind of just like, what?
Yeah, I mean not Lipton, obviously, but the other teas, and also the real kind. and also, the Chinese aren't the only ones that do that. Like I want to say the Turkish, some Middle Eastern people also read your tea leaves as well. So so that is really cool. Well, thank you. All right, you guys. So we're gonna move on to news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Woo. Okay, you guys. So I mean, honestly, these people are all about this show mostly, but we do have a few photos for you. So here we go. So Detective Mike Alvarez, Amori. Can you pronounce? We're gonna work on his name. He actually is a NASCAR guy, so he went to NASCAR, and I was like, I didn't even know Latinos went to NASCAR, but he went to NASCAR, and that's great. Like I'm not hating on NASCAR. I've never been, but I probably would hook up with a NASCAR driver. I'm not gonna drive. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it's something cool, the racing, whatever. So you know, that's what he did, and
Some of them
I think
are cute.
They looking good right there. I know that. So,
do you know how he stays in such good shape?
He works out a lot because I think I follow him on the gram. He's in that gym a lot, girl. I'm like, oh, is that where he lives?
He does boxing. He goes to a gym in New York called Rumble Boxing. And since I'm trying to get fit, I think if I ever go to New York, I'll have to try and check it out. Check out if he's single. I don't know. What do you guys do to stay fit?
Zumba.
I love Zumba.
I do Zumba, class pass. I do everything, but I'm gonna do a boxing. I'll do boxing.
I want to try Pilates. Like something about Pilates that I see Monique Coleman does. Like she does it a lot, but like it's very fascinating. I'm just like I want to improve like my limbs and yoga for flexibility because yoga seems fun.
Okay, so let's pull up a photo. We have a photo of Kay here.
Oh,
so
she looks amazing.
She looks amazing. This week she attended the screening of the original OG, which is a new comedy on TV. Oh, the last OG, my bad. Which is a comedy on TBS starring Tracy Morgan and Tiffany Haddish.
And Cedric the Entertainer, which is back. He's back on a show, like a sitcom show, and I appreciate it.
Which is so great. So she looks so amazing here.
Oh my gosh.
And I
so
believe
cute.
Sherry has some hot gossip about her wonderful love life.
Well, she's engaged. She got engaged last year.
Aww.
And she met a gorgeous bartender whose name is Alexander Sorokin. And he is at a bar in New York City called the La Esquina. And so I'm thinking, when I go visit my sister in New York City, I might have to ask him for a margarita or a mojito or something.
Cool. If you guys, those are the only photos I was able to find so far. But if you guys have some additional news, make it quick.
Justin Chon and his wife had a baby. I don't think anyone knows what the sex is, but I'm going to go 50-50, a boy or a girl.
Woo.
And he is juggling a lot, not only new fatherhood and marriage, but he's writing a script and he's doing some sort of secretive new filming project that hasn't been released yet. So I'll be looking for him on the big screen soon.
Woohoo! All right, you guys. So that is our news and predictions. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. Next week, the next episode has to do with like our church and I think graffiti, and so so that'll be kind of exciting. So yeah, you guys, this has been amazing episode. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. So here's what you guys need to do. If you watched us, then you should have liked us by now. But if you haven't, please please subscribe, please comment, because we're trying to send some shout outs, but we don't know if you don't comment. So please comment, you guys. Check us out also on iTunes, all that great stuff. Love you guys. Again, my name is Erika Edwards. You can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, Erika, D as in door, Edwards.
Hey guys, you can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram. Rise Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And of course, Wednesdays before this at 6 p.m. at the Black Lightning, guys. There's 2 more episodes and maybe some special guests. We will find out if you tune in.
I'm Cherry_LA on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you live tweet with us on Sunday nights.
All right, you guys, subscribe, come back next week. Have a good night, you guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.